This is the OTP presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. When it's game day for your health coverage, trust Farm Bureau Health Plans to draw up a winning play for you. They've been backing Tennesseans for nearly 80 years. We are glad to welcome Titans head coach Brian Callahan back to the studio and back to the show. Welcome on this Monday.
Thank you.
Brian, sometimes when you watch the game tape, it confirms what you saw. Sometimes it presents different things that you didn't suspect, maybe some surprises. After watching Sunday's game tape, what did you see?
Well, the old adage is usually it's never as good as it seems, and it's usually never as bad as it seems. I would say that a lot of the things I felt during the game were confirmed in watching the game again. What I mean by that is there's a lot of really strong performances from a lot of different groups on the tape, and particularly on defense. I thought of special teams and as well. I think those areas had a really, really nice game. Offensively, we ran the ball really well. We moved the line of scrimmage. We were the more physical team for most stretches of that game. And it comes down to, just like a lot of games come down to, but this one in particular, a set of like really, really critical plays that you make and you win, or you don't and you lose. And there was probably 3 or 4 of them, those 2 fourth down low red zone plays for sure, that you convert one of those for sure, and 2 of them you can almost guarantee yourself you're going to win. Those are very high leverage spots that we didn't come away with the points that we wanted, but there's a lot of things about how we played, some of the individual performances, the linebackers in particular, the way that our guys covered on special teams with a bunch of young players playing. There was a lot of things that I was encouraged about. If you're just stepping back from the loss, there's things that I can point to that are what we want to be about, and that's encouraging. The loss is not.
Are there specific things that the Titans are doing or not doing well that are leading to the problems in the red zone?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't execute down there very well. We had, I think it's the hard part is when you have open guys down there that we just don't get to. I thought the first fourth down, Chig is open and the ball should go to him. And that's red zone football. And, those are the things that happen sometimes. And then the second one was a really pretty decent throw to NWI, and he goes up in the air to go get it, and it's a catch that I bet he makes 7 out of 10 times. The degree of difficulty is high. It's not an easy catch, but he's a big, strong, physical receiver, and the ball was put in a spot where he get a chance to get it. And then there's also other guys in the progression that had a chance if he didn't get that ball that they could have got it. So it's just the passing game down there is all about timing. It's all about accuracy because the windows are tight. The field shrinks. There's no threat of anything vertical. Everybody is right there. So it can be challenging, and you have to be really disciplined with your decision-making process. You have to be really disciplined with your accuracy and where you put the ball. To have a really good red zone, and then things break down, you got to be able to make a play. And most red zones, I think if you watch over the league, the red zone scores, I bet you about half of them are just off-schedule plays. It's just players making plays. It's quarterback extending, it's receivers working in the scramble drill. Those things are all part of that process. And disappointed to come away at 0 for 2 down there when we had opportunities to win the game.
Will Levis's shoulder injury, been through this once before. He came back and played against Indianapolis, and then you sat him for 3 games. So with having had that experience with Will and that injury, will you do anything differently this time in terms of how you handle him and or your decision to play him?
Yeah, if he's not healthy enough to do the job, I won't put him out there. I don't think this one, at least as of right now, felt like it's anywhere near as bad as the Miami initial injury. I think it hurt. I think it didn't feel very good, but I don't know that the effects are going to be the same. We'll find out. I don't know for sure how he's going to come back, tomorrow and then into Wednesday. Usually guys are really the most sore the second day after the game. It's tomorrow is where you really find out what it feels like. But yeah, I'll have the same process. If he can't go out and do it, I'll make sure that we don't put him in harm's way, because that's not fair to him or for the team to go out there and not be able to perform the job to the level you're required. So I'll have to be smart about that. We'll be smart with him and how we evaluate where he's at. I feel pretty good right now that it shouldn't be an issue. But again, I've spoken too soon before, so we'll see. We'll see.
Well, from watching the tape, was there any sign that injury limited the way that he was able to play within the offense on Sunday?
No, there was nothing. That's why I don't feel as he couldn't throw the football in Miami when he got hurt. He couldn't really do much of anything. So it was different. It wasn't maybe as I think I said, I could get hurt pretty good, but I don't know if it was as severe of an actual injury as it was just the way it felt. So didn't see anything in the game that would have led me to believe it was his effectiveness had waned. And we were ready to put Mason in, and he came out after halftime and said he's good to go. And Todd gave him the all good, our athletic trainer gave him the all clear, and so I trust those guys, especially in those moments, and then we'll see, when we get into the rhythm of the week in practice, what that looks like.
Does Will Levis need to be running more to help this offense?
I wouldn't say there was a lot of opportunities in the game on Sunday, but there's been times we pointed out on when and where you can escape, and I thought it was one third down where he escapes left, moves himself out of the pocket, gets in position to be a runner, and then Tyler Boyd does an excellent job of working up the field and coming back downhill for the first down. It's a really nice throw on the run. That's where the bigger plays can be created. You can create some, and there's a balance between trying to get him to play the position the sort of right way, and then it's awkward how it works sometimes. It's like, here, learn how to do this right, and then when you feel really good about that, then go do it all the way.
Right.
It's a weird progression, but that's sort of how it works, is that you find these opportunities to extend a play, to use your legs, and we've worked a bunch in practice with escaping the pocket with the intent to extend. That's sort of the next step is, when you pull up, don't just run right down the middle of the pocket. See if you can find a side door escape and get out on the perimeter. And then if you can run. If you can create explosive play on the field, create it that way as well. So it's a fine line and a balance, but it's something that we're definitely working on.
Let's switch over to defense for a minute. How did Luke Gifford play at middle linebacker?
I thought he played really well. There's a lot going on there with him. First time probably playing that many snaps at linebacker in a long time. Having the green dot and being the communicator on game day with the calls of the defense. Really thought that was a smooth process. It was one that we were concerned in the sense that he just hadn't done that very often, and so there's always a concern. But he did a great job, and I thought he played physical. I thought he played fast. I thought him and Otis really did a nice job, stepping up in the moment. And I think I give a lot of credit to a guy that doesn't probably get as much as he should, as Frank Bush. I think Frank Bush is one of the premier linebacker coaches in football, and I think you see that with the amount of guys he's had to get ready to play and the young players he has. He's as good a football coach as I've ever been around, and I think he's a large part of why those guys were put in position to play so well.
So we talked about this on the radio. Luke Gifford had made one other start in his career.
Mm-hmm.
At Cleveland last year when the Titans used an extra linebacker package. So he had never, and I mean, that was just for a handful of snaps, and he hurt a hamstring in that game anyway.
Yeah.
In his 6-year NFL career, he had never played 59 snaps in a game.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that he was able to hold up and be that effective in that way?
No, I'm not. I see who Luke is every day here. You see he's playing, as a side note, he's playing at like special teams Pro Bowl level linebacker. Like, he is as good a special teams player as you can find in football, which is why he's here. And why he was brought here initially. Like, he is a very, very good special teams linebacker. And as most special teams linebackers go, they usually don't get a lot of playing time. They're kind of built for that purpose, and they're really good at it. But Luke, just the way he prepares, his professionalism, super impressive, and everything about how he goes about his business. So I am not surprised at all that he'd go in there and play like that.
All right, so you mentioned Otis Reese.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted him in there because Otis likes to hit stuff. He is very enthusiastic about hitting stuff.
Did you see what he did? Did you see what he did to the guard in the one play?
Yeah. So I'm
accurate statement.
I'm guessing that you got what you wanted from Otis in terms of the enthusiasm, the aggression, the thump.
Absolutely. He was all of that. And that's what he's always been. And now he's got an opportunity. Again, he's another guy that's really performing well for us on special teams too. But for him to step in and play that, I challenged those guys the night before the game that, both him and Luke and Otis had a huge opportunity in front of them. to play a meaningful NFL football in a starting role, and just to see how hungry and how physical they could be. And they were fantastic in that regard. They did those two things as good as you can ask for anybody to do. And, Otis is that's the one thing. He's going to play as fast as he can, and he is going to hit whatever's in front of him, and it's going to hurt. And that's what you love about him. And there's things he can clean up and get better at, but I was really impressed with both those guys.
Well, he's a guy that, like certain players are in basketball, you want to see a guy dunk.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if he can shoot or do anything else. Everybody on the team's like, oh, so-and-so's going to dunk. Let's all watch. Everybody on the team wants to see Otis hit somebody.
Yes, and they enjoy it when he does.
I know, but he's that guy.
Yeah, he was like that in the preseason.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why you want a guy like Otis on your team, and he's got athletic ability, so he can be good in kick coverage, and those things are all important. And to see him get an opportunity to play in the game and play well was really cool. I think a lot of guys root for him.
Did Jarvis Brownlee play as well at the nickel as you hoped?
Yeah. He was playing outside in base defense, and then he'd kick inside when we went to nickel, and I thought that was a really impressive thing to do. I mean, he hasn't been inside in a long time, and there is nuance to playing nickel. It is not easy. There's run fits, there's coverage leverage, there's a lot of things that go. It takes a really smart player to play nickel well, and I think Jarvis just showed his versatility. And you got to be physical in there. It's usually a smaller DB, but it's a big man's position. You have to play big in there, which is what Roger does so well. Is you got to be physical, you got to fit the run, you got to be able to do a lot of things. And I thought Jarvis did a really nice job going in between both spots, playing outside and playing inside. And I think it was good to see him be able to do that.
You mentioned special teams players earlier. Was this the most complete special teams performance you've seen so far this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think we covered all coverage phases as good as we've covered. Major challenge issued to them. I told them Saturday night that the challenge this week is I don't want to see the starting field position past the 30. Too many times we've given people field position. It's just like figure out a way to get them to, and we stopped them inside the 30 every time except for one touchback. They weren't on the 30. So I thought that our coverage units were fantastic. They played fast. They played physical. I think the two guys that should deserve some credit is our two gunners. I think Justin Hardee has been he was not on the stat sheet, but his presence is he gets the double. He draws penalties. He's a presence people are aware of. And then Bryce Oliver continues to really make an impact on special teams as a gunner. I thought he was fantastic in the game. Drew a penalty, was down forcing fair catches. He got the single. He was winning. That's a really awesome thing to see is a guy like Bryce step up and make special teams plays.
What do you think led to that consistency in the play? Was it the challenge that you issued?
I mean, I'm not going to take credit for that necessarily. I think we've actually played, pretty good on special teams over the last couple of weeks. And again, there's been, particularly our punt coverage phase, I think has been really pretty good for a while now. The kick coverage has had moments. But again, now we got some guys get some opportunities to play in there. I think Julius Chestnut's playing really well inside in there in kickoff cover. We've thrown DMR played this week on special teams. Tommy Odukoya played. Like there's a bunch of guys in there playing. I think James Williams is really starting to come on as a special teams player. So these guys are getting better as the year goes on. Particularly the young players that have had opportunities to play. They're getting better every week, and I think you're seeing the result of time on task for a lot of these guys that are new to that world.
Hey Titans fans, with a Kroger Boost membership, you'll score big with double fuel points, free delivery, and lots more. Go to Kroger.com/boost for details. Kroger, official grocer of the Tennessee Titans. Tighten up.
Home is at the forefront of all that we do. It's why we're so committed to caring for the places and spaces in which we work and live. Ashley, the official furniture provider of the Tennessee Titans. We continue with Titans head coach Brian Callahan. You mentioned in your Monday press conference that you were very frank with your football team when they came back to work. Mind sharing some of the gist of what you were getting at with that frankness?
Yeah, the gist of it is that there was really a lot of good football on that tape. And there was a handful of plays that lost the game for us. And you try to show how we lose games or how you win games every week and where the critical factors are. And at the end of the day, you have to. The message is you got to step back. We're knocked out of playoff contention. Like, you got to acknowledge it. It's not where we wanted to be, where I thought we would be, but we are. We're here. We've won 3 games. We haven't won enough games, and so you got a month left to play. And I think that's important to be straightforward about that. That this is important. This is important. It's important for a couple of reasons, because there is a future aspect to this. There is a building for what's next. And look, no one wants to hear that with 4 games to play, but there's only 4 games left in 2024, and then the focus will shift to 25, and that's an important stretch for us. These are games. We got 3 more divisional games in this stretch. We got a game against a really good football team that's had some struggles as well this year, but in the Bengals. And I just very much believe that how you finish this season sets the kind of course and the foundation for what's next. And I think it's okay to say that. And it's okay to acknowledge that. And the other part of it is that we're all paid professionals. Our job is to coach and play football. And the expectation is that we do everything we do this week and the next 4 weeks the exact same way we did the first 4 weeks, and that we go out and play and prepare and do everything exactly the same. And to trust that this process is we are making the progress we need to make. We're not necessarily having wins and losses to show for it, but we have a process in place, and to trust that, and to trust in the coaches, and trust in the front office, and to trust each other, because we have a lot of young players that are all going to be here next year. We got guys under contract. So these are important games, and to think anything other than that would be would ultimately be unprofessional. And so I just want to make sure that message was very clear to them, and that they knew how I felt about it, and that the expectation is for them to feel the same. And we've played well. This team's been connected all year long. They play for each other. They do things the right way, and I love them for it. And I love everything about the stuff that not everybody gets to see every day. And I think you guys see a little bit of that too. But ultimately, that was the main message. Like, look, it's we're not where we want to be. It's not where we thought we'd be, but there is an expectation for what remains of this season, and the expectation is to play well and to do the things we've done all year long in the same manner. And again, it's honest, but you have to be sometimes.
All right, let's turn to Cincinnati.
Let's.
They can throw, they can score. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are both having statistically really strong seasons. Why do you think that is?
They're the 2 best players at their position. I mean, yeah, Joe is now, I think, officially, not that anybody needed to know, but I think he's been in this spot for 2 or 3 years now. But now I think this year he's totally become a guy that can take over a game, and there's only a couple of those. I think he's the best quarterback in football this year. I think the way he's played, both statistically and what he's done offensively. He is playing as the best player in football, and I don't vote for MVPs, but everything about how he's played would point to him being the most valuable player in football this year, based on what he's done. And he's fantastic. He's one of probably 5 quarterbacks in this league that can truly take over a game, and then he's really, really, really good at playing quarterback.
I'm looking for a second on a motion that I'm trying to make to outlaw wide receivers from LSU in the NFL. Brian, I'm wondering, would you go with me on that?
Yeah, I mean, especially since we have to play against them. So, yes.
We just played against one who had quite a second half.
Correct.
Young Thomas. Yeah. Why is Jamar Chase so good?
How much time you want to spend?
Well,
I'll say this. This is what I'll give you. My personal opinion is, one is he is an incredible worker. He is probably one of our hardest workers in Cincinnati while I was there. He almost never misses practice. He can run all day long. So he's capable of putting the work in. He's incredibly intelligent. Like, his football intelligence on where to be, how to get there, what lever, like, fantastic, like, off the charts. And then he's got a play strength that I think is unique to just about maybe him. His ability to stay stacked and not get moved off the point and play physical are really unique. He's got incredibly strong hands, incredibly strong contact balance. He's a freak athlete on top of it. So he just has this package of things physically that are better than most people on the planet. And then he's got the mindset to go with it. And that's what makes him great. And that's what all great players are like. And, one of the things that I think sets him apart from everybody in the league is, when he puts his helmet on, puts his chin strap on, he's going to go on the field and he's going to try to take your soul. And I think the quarterback's the same way. And you got two guys like that, and it shows what with their production, what they do on a week-to-week basis.
Watching these guys as the opponent, is that the weirdest part about this week getting ready to go up against your former team?
Yeah, I mean that part is weird because it's like I spent 5 years in the NFL is a lifetime. I mean that's a long time to be anywhere, and you're lucky if you can get to that point. And I've also seen them grow up. I was with both those guys as rookies and a lot of those players for a long time, and to see where they're at and what they've turned into and the types of players that we thought they were capable of being, and now that they are, you see it weekly that they're the best in football. It's a weird thing. It's like I'm proud and I'm happy for them, and then I'm like, oh, we got to play these guys and we got to defend them. So that part is not as exciting. I can see why people had trouble trying to get ready for those years in Cincinnati and how hard that was to get ready for those guys.
Hey, Titans fans, SeatGeek makes it easy to find tickets so you can be a part of all the touchdown celebrations this season.
Whether you're buying or selling football tickets, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek is the official primary ticketing partner of the Tennessee Titans.
The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected.
SeatGeek.
SeatGeek. Made a rookie mistake this football season? Maybe you should have had a Snickers.
Because now you can enter for the chance to turn those rookie mistakes into prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59.
Visit snickers.com/rookie mistakes for details.
Understanding that the Bengals are averaging 28 points per game, will that change the way that you call plays or call your offense on Sunday?
It's certainly part of it. There's a complementary aspect to the game, and defensively they've had their struggles this year. And offensively, we had ours. So we have to find a way to complement our defense, do our best to keep them off the field where we can. It's hard to play a game where you think you're just going to like run the ball every play and take the clock. That's hard to do. You still got to be aggressive and all that. But there's going to be a complementary aspect offensively and defensively and special teams of the field position part of it, the running of the football, the clock, keeping them off the field. All those things are when you play a great offense, you have to do well. But we have to play a complete game as a full team to minimize their ability to score points.
We'll see you throughout the course of the week as you prepare. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.